NASCAR's packing their next-gen car up and bringing it to France. NASCAR will have a car in next year's 24 Hours of Le Mans. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. I mentioned it briefly in yesterday's video, but yes, today NASCAR made a huge world-shaking announcement. Today at Sebring International Raceway, NASCAR and Rick Hendrick announced that they will be bringing a next-gen car to next year's 24 Hours of Le Mans. Chevrolet and Goodyear will also be involved, of course. This NASCAR next-gen car will be a Garage 56 entry. Garage 56 is basically an extra spot on the grid reserved for a car or team that's featuring some sort of innovative or new futuristic automotive technology. I know a lot of big fancy words, but effectively it's a class of their own. The car is to meet certain safety regulations, but it doesn't have to conform to all the same rules other cars do. They're really racing against themselves. They'll be timed and scored like any other car in the race would be, but it's meant to be more of an exhibition. Again, a class of their own. NASCAR President Steve Phelps, Jim France was there as well, Rick Hendrick, of course, John Doonan from IMSA, and others were at the announcement today. Rick Hendrick said that Chad Knaus will lead this program, 7-time Cup Series Championship crew chief. And Steve Phelps said that this NASCAR next-gen car that will be flying across the Atlantic to compete in France will be a modified next-gen car. So yes, the car will in fact have working headlights. Steve Phelps reiterated that he wants this car to be different enough from a normal active NASCAR Cup Series car because NASCAR does have strict testing rules in place. He doesn't want to give Hendrick Motorsports any sort of unfair advantage. So they're going to work to ensure that the car is different enough from what we see on Sunday here in the States, but will still be, a NASCAR Cup Series car representing NASCAR stock car racing. This will be the first time a NASCAR car has competed at Le Mans since 1976. There are actually 2 NASCAR cars in that race, but neither made it to the halfway point. They both failed to finish the race. So this is a huge announcement, of course. Again, I must preface this. I'm not a big sports car fan. I follow IMSA fairly closely. Like I watch the Rolex 24. I pay close attention to it every year, but I don't pay super close attention to the international sports car racing scene or endurance racing scene. So I'm going to focus on today's announcement from the NASCAR side of things because that's my bread and butter. I follow NASCAR extremely closely. So what does this announcement really mean for NASCAR and its potential growth, its future? What does this mean stateside? Apparently this deal's been kind of being worked on since November of 2020. Rick Hendrick said today that they want to be competitive. They don't want to just go out there and ride around. Their goal is to finish the race and ultimately put up some competitive lap times. Now, neither Hendrick, Phelps, anyone involved today had anything to say about who will drive this NASCAR next-gen entry. Rick Hendrick did say he'd like to see an active Cup Series driver as one of their competitors, but it's going to depend on if their schedules align. The 2023 NASCAR Cup schedule, of course, has not yet been revealed and likely won't be for at least a couple more months. Rick Hendrick joked about putting Jeff Gordon on a diet and bringing him out there. Jimmy Johnson, I'm sure, will be a candidate. And there are plenty of other very capable, more than capable IMSA drivers that have worked with Hendrick's Cadillac operation in recent years. Of course, Hendrick and, we've seen that Ally car in the Rolex race for a couple of years now. The driver lineup will be announced at a later date, but of course that's what a lot of fans here in the US want to know. Will we see Jimmy Johnson race in Europe? Will we see Jeff Gordon? Will we see a guy like Chase Elliott or maybe Kyle Larson race at Le Mans? That's what I want to know for sure. I am also kind of curious to see if this leads to maybe a NASCAR next-gen class like at Daytona for the Rolex 24 one day. I mean, today when asked about it, John Doonan said, "We'll see," and kind of smiled. So maybe that's something that works out in the future. But here are my takeaways. Again, as someone who's mainly focused on the NASCAR side of this deal, obviously, just as a motorsports fan more broadly, this is really exciting news to see NASCAR, the biggest motorsport series in the United States, one of the biggest motorsport series worldwide, competing in Europe, competing in the biggest endurance race on the planet with their new car, putting their new car on display. That is big, big news. I get that, but I want to focus on this again from the NASCAR side of things. The first big question I have is how modified will this car be? Because typically that Garage 56 entry, which has only been around for like 8 or 9 years now, is reserved for a car or team that's really pushing the technological limits, who's debuting or pioneering or trying something innovative from a technological standpoint. And with all due respect to the next gen car, it's real new to NASCAR. It's groundbreaking for stock car racing. It's not really brand new or groundbreaking compared to a lot of other motorsports, other cars out in the motorsports world. What will they change on this next gen car to make it more innovative? Will NASCAR use this as an opportunity to maybe test Maybe a new engine package? I could see that as a real possibility. NASCAR has discussed adding hybrid elements to the next engine package whenever it is introduced. That's what I want to know. Will there be any technology used or tested in this Le Mans car that we see race in the Cup Series on Sundays in the future? That's what I want to know. Obviously, none of that information was given today, but hopefully before long, that's the kind of fun stuff we'll get to speculate on, especially now that we know Hendrick Motorsports is going to be working on this thing. Secondly, from a marketing and publicity standpoint, I think this is a bigger deal for sports car racing, especially American sports car racing, than it is for NASCAR. Now, if Rick Hendrick is able to send a Kyle Larson or a Chase Elliott, an active young NASCAR superstar to Europe, putting them on a world stage, then maybe I'll change my tune a bit. That would be a pretty big deal for NASCAR. But as it sits right now, this feels like a bigger deal for sports car racing. It'll bring more American eyeballs potentially to Le Mans, and it may also bring more eyeballs to Hendrick's operations in IMSA. NASCAR's ownership of IMSA, of course. And if we ever see next-gen cars racing at like the Rolex 24 at Daytona, that'd be a huge deal for IMSA. When it comes to NASCAR racing at Le Mans, I don't think there are many European fans who are going to tune into that race and say, oh, there's a NASCAR car here. Maybe I'll check them out. Where are they racing this weekend? Oh, Darlington, South Carolina. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think from NASCAR's perspective, this is more of a vanity thing, if nothing else, which is still, that's fine. It's potentially a worthwhile investment. Again, NASCAR is one of the biggest motorsport series in the world, but it's primarily focused on the United States. Putting NASCAR's newest technology on display for the rest of the world to see, sure, why not? It may be an ego boost if nothing else, but hey, there's nothing wrong with that. My third big point or observation, though, this really speaks to the versatility of the next gen. I know this is a point I've made before. This isn't the first time I've talked about this. There are some negatives to the next gen car, for sure. Depending on who you ask, the fact that it's a spec car, single source suppliers for all the major parts, the teams aren't building the cars themselves anymore. That's caused many of the teams to downsize some of their operations. That's, I think, largely a negative. Most would agree. But the car does have some serious positives. It is going to be cheaper for teams to race in the long run. It's a durable race car, not just talking about the outer composite body, but the car itself, it's strong, almost to a fault at times. And again, it's more versatile. The Gen 6 couldn't have raced at the LA Coliseum. The Gen 6, we wouldn't even be considering a street race in Chicago. The Gen 6 would not be racing at Le Mans. The next gen car, because of how it's built, because of how it's designed, is capable of all those things and possibly much, much more. I look at the fact that apparently Corey LaJoie raced the same car all 3 races of the West Coast Swing, Auto Club, Vegas, Phoenix, one car for all 3 races. That was impossible to do with the Gen 6, or at least if you wanted to be even remotely competitive. Corey LaJoie had a top 15 in Las Vegas. The next gen car can be outfitted to run a wide variety of tracks. It's versatile, and NASCAR should be proud of that. It's more up-to-date technologically, again, compared to other high-powered racing machines in the world. It may not be the most technologically advanced, but it's a step forward for NASCAR at least. Assuming everything goes according to plan and we do see a NASCAR next-gen Cup car race at Le Mans, that'll be a cool moment, and it will further demonstrate just how versatile the next gen is. It's a testament to its design, without question. Those are just some of my quick thoughts after watching today's press conference and reading many of the quotes from those players involved. A shocking announcement for sure. If you're a worldwide motorsports fan, if you love sports car racing for sure, you have to be blown away by today's announcement. I know I didn't see it coming. I think it's fantastic. I can't wait to see what they do to that NASCAR car to outfit it for Le Mans. I can't wait to see what sort of modifications they make. Who drives it, of course? What sort of team of drivers do NASCAR, Chevy, Hendrick? Who do they put together to run this thing? That's going to be important. There's a lot to be excited about, and that's where you guys come in. I want to see you guys in the comments share your thoughts. How do you feel about NASCAR racing at Le Mans next year? What drivers would you like to see race this thing? Leave your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below. I look forward to reading them and enlighten me. Again, I'm not a big sports car guy. If you're a big sports car fan, if you've been watching the Le Mans 24-hour race your entire life, let me know what kind of things I should be expecting. What should I be looking forward to? This is a pretty cool announcement for the motorsports world, and I want to hear what you guys think about it. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode. Just want to share my quick thoughts on today's announcement. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We talk NASCAR news, predictions, race recaps, and much, much more nearly every single day. And as always, a big thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. I truly appreciate your support. We'll be back tomorrow just in time to talk about Atlanta. No one really knows what to expect. High banked, mile and a half. Will it be a super speedway race? Will it be some sort of abomination? That remains to be seen. We'll have to talk about that later this week. But thank you all for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.